Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Jen Barnes. Thanks for being here this morning. Little bit of admin first up. See the GoToWebinar control panel. Right at the bottom of that, there's a little hand. Can you please raise your hand to make sure that there's nothing going strange with the audio or the visual, while I give you a couple of other details. Okay, this is there's no live Q&A in this particular session, but right at the end, right on the end screen, you'll be given my direct email address if you have questions or follow-up information at the end of the webinar. Also, that's the same email address if you want to jump on to the special offer, which will be given at the end of the presentation today. So righto, let me introduce our presenter. We've got a Mr. Bruce Donaldson, who comes from a long and illustrious background in training and education. We're really thrilled to have him as part of the he's actually the newest part of the SmartBiz project team. And welcome, Bruce. Looks like we're all set. I can see hands going up. That is fabulous. Okay, folks, it's time for your business to get its unfair market share. All over to you, Bruce. Take it away.
Thank you, Jen. Pleasure to be here. Thanks all for attending. So let's get started. As you've probably guessed, everything you've ever learned about generating leads and growing your business is wrong. Everything you've ever heard, everything you've ever tried, and everything you've ever done, it's all wrong. This presentation will teach you a system of marketing your business to a point where it becomes instantly obvious to your prospects that they would be an idiot to do business with anyone other than you, anytime, anywhere, or at any price. So let's take a real-world example. Let's say you're a chiropractor. You've just spent $10,000 on radio advertising. You've run your ads for several weeks, and at the end of the day, your phone only rang 15 times, resulting in just one single patient at $2,000. That is an $8,000 net loss. Ouch. Not to mention all the time, effort, and wasted energy. Now, let's look at this parallel universe. What if you could take just $1,300 of your marketing budget, and just by changing what your ad says, instead of getting 15 calls in only one sale, you could generate 137 calls. Close 37 of them into new patients, each worth an average of $2,500. And you pocket a cool $92,500 for your trouble. That's what we call getting more bang for your marketing buck, profiting more for the same time and effort while investing way less money. Today, I'll share how to leverage what you're already doing just by changing the way you do all your marketing and advertising. And I'm not talking about radical changes, just simple common sense changes that enable you to exponentially leverage your marketing results and in the process dominate your entire industry. Scientifically known as more bang for your marketing buck. The system I'm going to teach you is truly a breakthrough in marketing and advertising, yet it's simple and easy to understand. I'll introduce you to some very common sense principles of marketing that you'll be able to instantly validate and embrace. Principles that will give you a clear vision of what your marketing is supposed to look like, and more importantly, what it's not supposed to look like. This marketing system is based on unchanging principles of human nature that dictate that people always want to make the best buying decision possible. And therefore, marketing's job, that is your job, is not to ramble on about how great you are or how low your prices are. Your role is to position your prospective buyer so they have total control over the decision-making process based on them having enough quality information to determine that they're receiving the best value for money. These fundamental formulas and strategies not only make your marketing work better, but will enable you to create competition-crushing marketing. I want you to see how powerful all this is, allow you to comprehend what the possibilities are for your business and what a significant advantage you hold over your competitors when you implement it. There are two main components to marketing: strategic marketing and tactical marketing. Strategic marketing is the content of your message. It is what you say and it's how you say it, including the concepts that you choose to focus on, the words and images you use in communicating those concepts, and the tone in which the message is delivered. Tactical marketing, on the other hand, has to do with the execution of the strategic marketing, such as placing ads, building a website, attending trade shows, things like that. 99 times out of 100, if I ask a business owner about their marketing plan, the answer almost always comes back in terms of tactical marketing. They send direct mail, run radio ads, visit a website, those kinds of things. But the key to effective marketing is to master the strategic side, not the tactical. What you say in your marketing and how you say it are almost always more important than the marketing medium where you say it. Both are important, but the real leverage is in the messaging itself. And that's the strategic side of marketing. In fact, when a marketing campaign bombs, the tendency is to blame the medium like the TV or radio station, which is a tactical part of the plan, without any regard to how good or bad the strategy behind the marketing was. During this presentation, you'll learn how to say things in a way that will make a profound difference in your marketing results. No matter what your business is or how crowded your market is. Our revolutionary lead generation system works with all size businesses, from startups to listed companies. But our passion lies in working with small businesses and their owners. This system will let you finally quit competing on price and start selling your products or services for what they're really worth. You'll drive in more leads and see an increase in advertising response by 2 to more than 100 times. You'll also convert a higher percentage of those leads and make your salespeople into superstars. You'll then increase the amount of average sale, and your list of clients that pay, stay and refer will increase significantly. In short, you'll get a bigger bang for your marketing buck. But best of all, you will finally have total control over your marketing and lead generation results. So the question I pose to you is this: what is the actual purpose of marketing? What is marketing really supposed to do? Well, in a nutshell, marketing is supposed to facilitate a prospect's decision-making process. There are prospects that need to borrow what you sell. Other times, they need to be educated to the fact that they need to buy what you sell. And on other occasions, they already know they want it, but need help deciding who to buy it from. Often, irrespective of anything else, they have specific questions or concerns that need to be overcome before they pull out their credit cards. But consider this. Prospects are not experts in what you do, or the exposure to what you sell is quite low. They don't really know the relevant issues surrounding the purchase. They don't know how to make the best decision. They can't tell the difference between the best and a major mistake, which leaves an opportunity for you to provide them with this information and then guide them through the buying process. Consider this example. Throughout your life, how many home extensions have you bought? Have you bought 5, 2, 1? Or like 99% of homeowners, with 0. Let's assume you fall in the group of 99% of people who have never bought an extension before. Do you have any idea whatsoever how to buy an extension? Can you tell the difference between a $10,000 extension and a $25,000 one just by looking at it? Of course you can't. Now realise that when people need to buy what you sell, they are, generally speaking, just as clueless about what you're selling as you are about extensions. So your job, simply put, is to facilitate your prospect's decision-making process. This is actually pretty simple. All prospects and customers want the exact same things. And it really doesn't matter what type of business you have. They want to feel confident that their money has been well spent and that the decision has been made to the best of their ability. They want to get the best deal, not just the best price, but the best deal in terms of our overall value. People instinctively want to make the best decision possible and not feel like they've got to second guess their buying decision. So, all you have to do as a marketer is figure out what's important to your prospects. Educate them as to what constitutes the best deal, remember value, and then show them direct proof that you actually provide the best deal in terms of price and value. All this has to be communicated in a way they'll pay attention to, believe in, and then take action on. When this occurs, the prospect gets what they really want from you. Complete confidence that they have actually made the best decision possible and they have truly gotten the best value. But here's the problem. Instead of using marketing to educate and facilitate the decision buying process, most businesses fill their marketing with self-serving jargon that's only a thinly veiled way to say, buy it from me because I want you to give me your money instead of my competitor. That's why people become jaded and why they resist marketing. They tend to either dismiss your entire marketing message or worse, they become skeptical and stop paying attention to the messaging altogether. Proactive buyers want and need to be educated so that they feel confident when making their purchase decision, and no one's providing it. But here's the good news. The first one who does provide prospects with this information wins all the profitable customers available. When marketing is done poorly, the end result is 100% predictable. You start to feel intense pricing pressure from your prospects, and typically you're forced to cave in, lower your prices, destroy your margins, and make way less money than you would just to stay competitive. And you get to spend more time at work and away from your family than those who are successful. Here's a brutal truth. If you're always competing on price, it's your fault. Your lack of marketing know-how has led to a situation where there is no discernible difference between you and your competition. You have not introduced any new or relevant decision-making issues to educate your prospects as to what really constitutes the best value when it comes to buying what you have to sell. If you're always competing on price, it's because price is the only relevant variable that you've given your prospects to consider. From the prospect's perspective, all things appear equal, so they default to the business offering the lowest price. I'm about to show you how to fix that once and for all. Our system is a step-by-step program for innovating and marketing your business. The system will allow you to first be better than your competition, and second, do better marketing than your competition. This allows you to separate your business from the competition and become the obvious choice for your prospects to do business with. Consider this. There's actually two sides to your business. First, there's what I call the inside reality, and second, what I call the outside perception. The inside reality encompasses everything that you do and everything that makes your business great. It's all of your skills, the people who work for you, your expertise, and the way you service your customers. It's your systems, your operational procedures, your commitment to excellence. It's your passion, the way you conduct your business on a daily basis. Add these things together and they equal your value in the marketplace. This is what I call inside reality. So, how's your inside reality? If I ask your customers why they buy from you, they'd probably tell you something quantifiable, specific, and instantly obvious. They will point to specific benefits they enjoy when doing business with you, followed by, that's why I do business here. That's why I'm a loyal customer. That's your inside reality. However, your outside perception has to do with how customers and prospects perceive your company. The outside perception is developed through interactions that your prospects and customers have with your business. Your customers will draw on their past experiences with you to form the outside perception of your business. But here's the problem. If you provide unmatched and unequal customer service and your customers absolutely love you, none of this matters to your prospects if, 1, they don't ever know you exist, or 2, because of your inability to market your business properly. Their perception is that you're no different, no better, no worse than your competitors. I'd estimate that well over 95% of all businesses are completely inept when it comes to marketing. And the end result is your inside reality and your outside perception are different. You see, regardless of how good you are, regardless of your inside reality, your prospect isn't going to be able to figure out your true inside reality based on your current marketing. You simply appear to be just another business that sells whatever it is you sell. Now, please don't say, that's okay, I have a salesperson. And when they get in front of my prospects, they'll be able to educate them and close the sale. Listen, that's a great theory, but I can guarantee you even a gun salesperson is never going to close a prospect who doesn't know you exist, and therefore never bothers to contact you in the first place. Remember the chiropractor. 137 calls versus 15 calls. That's an extra 122 calls a month. People are not calling the chiropractor prior to changing his marketing. How can you close people who never contact you? Well, obviously, you can't. This is why your marketing must do the heavy lifting for you. Your marketing must deliver eager, qualified prospects to your sales funnel. Competition today is more fierce than ever. The number of competitors you have right now is how many choices your prospects have. That's how many businesses they have to sift through as they attempt to reach a buying decision. And the internet has only made the problem worse. Have you ever noticed lately that everyone's going bonkers for online marketing? SEO, pay-per-click, Facebook, social marketing. And rightly so. Most prospects start their buying process by researching online. But here's a sad reality for businesses that advertise online. They spend a ton of their time, effort and money just to get prospects to their websites. And what do they see when they get there? The same old lame junk like service, quality and dependability that they saw in the lame brochure before the internet was invented, as well as the same junk that all the competitors have on their websites. These businesses then curse the internet and try to figure out how to get better qualified traffic to their site. The reality is that they're probably already getting enough qualified traffic to their site, but they fail to realise it's their lame website that's not converting their prospects that's the real problem. Everyone looks at the internet as a be-all, end-all to all their marketing problems. But the reality is that the internet is just another medium to screw up your marketing with bland messaging that does nothing to facilitate the decision-making process of your prospects. Yes, the internet is an important tool for your marketing arsenal, of course, but you need to have a great website, and that means you better fix your strategic marketing message or you're going to fail. There's an old saying, if you want to know why Jane Doe buys what Jane Doe buys, you've got to see the world through Jane Doe's eyes. But the problem is, while most businesses are very good at knowing what Jane Doe wants, they don't have the ability to communicate through their advertising and marketing their inside reality to the outside world. They can't lead their prospects to say, I'd be an idiot to do business with anyone other than you, anytime, anywhere, or at any price. We've been successfully generating leads for business owners now for more than 20 years, and it's been my experience that most businesses could stand some improvement in both their inside reality and their outside perception. But for some reason, they struggle their most with their outside perception. In other words, they've got a great business. Most of them offer exceptional value. They have good inside reality. And with all the competition exists, they have a major problem differentiating themselves from the rest of the marketplace. They're simply not getting the value of their business across to those who are outside looking in. What about you? What's your outside perception? Go grab your marketing. Look at your ads. Take a look at your website. Is it instantly obvious what makes you better, unique and different? Do you show your prospects how to judge your industry? What factors they need considering when deciding what to buy? And how you provide greater value than any of your competition? You realise as these concepts start to sink in that the crux of most marketing problems, including yours, can be summed up in one simple statement. Most businesses' outside perception is not an accurate reflection of their inside reality. So I'm going to show you why this is happening and what you can do to fix this for your business forever. I told you at the beginning of this presentation that everything you know about generating leads and growing your business is wrong. Let me clarify what this statement means based on what we've discussed so far. Everything you currently know about marketing does not effectively allow you to accurately and succinctly portray your inside reality to the outside world. This is a product of decades of being conditioned to do marketing the wrong way. In the very early days of advertising, I'm talking the late 1800s, early 1900s. Much of the advertising that existed back then was comparative in nature. Excuse me. Ads would just say, hey, we're better. They'd say, we're better, and here's exactly why, based on this and that. On average, they did a pretty good job of building a case and helping prospects understand the important issues in regards to their particular product or service. The result was the outside perception was generally a pretty good reflection of the inside reality. Then the most significant event in the history of marketing and advertising occurred in 1945. Television. Television was commercially introduced for the first time. Up until then, total national distribution of an advertising message was extremely limited to radio and print advertising. With the introduction of TV, large advertisers could buy a TV commercial and reach just about every living person in the country for $4,000 a minute, usually sold in 1 or 2 minute blocks. What a bargain, even in 1950s money. But back then, there was only 3 channels. So demand quickly outstripped the supply and prices shot through the roof. In response to the rising cost, the length of commercials shrank down from 2 minutes to 30 seconds. This meant that advertisers had less time to educate us to the important and relevant issues and build a case as to why they were different or better or unique. So instead of attempting to use shorter ads that highlighted their comparative values, advertisers changed tactics and started using slogans. That change made it harder and harder for the outside perception to accurately reflect inside reality. But remember that marketing's first job is simply to get the prospect's attention. Even just running a 30-second ad, getting attention was still not a problem for these advertisers. But then what? That's right. After you grab a prospect's attention, you must next facilitate the decision-making process. Companies and their ad agencies found it was a lot harder to do it in only 30 seconds. And they also found out that they didn't really need to do it, because the number of real competitors, that is, the number of competitors that could actually afford to advertise on TV and run ads against theirs, was wonderfully few. They could spend a ton of money running 30-second ads and win by default. Now, if there happen to be 2 or 3 major competitors jockeying for the same prospects, like Pepsi and Coke, that was fine. That's because there was plenty of business to divide 2 or 3 ways. The bottom line is that a company's inside reality and outside perception didn't really have to match up. The lack of choices eliminated this necessity. So, the focus of all marketing and advertising shifted to getting the prospect's attention. That's when advertising lost its focus on selling and instead shifted its focus to creativity. The idea was to get into the customer's brain with something creative that would stimulate them and cause them to recall the product later on. That's when slogans became the de facto marketing standard that is still used today. Breakfast of Champions, home of the Whopper. How about Beans Heinz? Get the idea? This new creative approach took over advertising as we know it, and has filtered into all other advertising media, including radio, Google AdWords, newspaper, magazines, billboards, yellow pages, websites, you name it. Once this new creative message was in place, the big companies spent lots of money and basically gave people no other option but to remember their message. After hearing things go better with Coke for the 8,000th time, you're going to remember it whether you want to or not. We call this C&R advertising. C for creativity and R for repetition. Create an ad that is unusual, weird, shocking, funny, emotional and so on. Spend $1 billion running that ad about 1 million times and cash in. We call this the era of the brand builders. And in the late 50s, 60s and 70s, it was a no-brainer formula for market dominance for companies with a budget to pull it off. But that's when it's happened. Ad agencies started running this formula for all of their clients, even the ones that were smaller and didn't have deep pockets. Business schools started teaching marketing and advertising based on these methods that were being successfully implemented by large companies in the world and churning out graduates who only knew one way to do marketing. Brand builder marketing and advertising became the de facto standard for how you do it. Then after a few years, no one even questioned the formula, which brings us to the crux of the problem. All of us alive today, with no exception, grew up in the era where almost all of the advertising you've ever seen or heard is a product of the era of the brand builders. As a result, we've all become conditioned as to what constitutes a good advertisement. We learn the fundamental pattern for what to put in a commercial. We learned about slogans and jingles and being funny. We learned that in marketing and advertising, the outside perception no longer has to reflect the inside reality. Let me repeat. Everything you've ever learned about generating leads and growing your business is wrong. And now you know why. As a result of this new breed of advertising, jargon has now started to dominate all marketing and advertising. Think of jargon as words or phrases that are drearily commonplace and predictable. They lack power to evoke interest through overuse and repetition, and they are nevertheless stated if they were original or significant. In advertising, you see and hear jargon all the time. Since businesses only have 30 seconds to try and convey what makes them special, they lump everything into jargon such as largest selection, most professional, lowest prices, highest quality, best service, fastest, most convenient, largest in the universe, more honest, we're the experts. We specialise, works harder, gets the job done right the first time, been in business for 4,000 years. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be all of these things. They make up the foundation of your inside reality. But consider this. If my marketing says I offer high quality and great service, isn't that commonplace and predictable? It lacks power through overuse and repetition. Advertisers use jargon as though it was original and significant. Does my inside reality shine through this jargon? See, you simply can't describe, demonstrate or exhibit your inside reality using jargon. It's impossible. And unfortunately, the end result is the outside perception that you're no different than everyone else. There's absolutely no distinction, no separation and no differentiation. None. You just flat out can't make your inside reality and outside perception match up when you use jargon like this. In fact, let me give you several ways you can easily and quickly evaluate your marketing to see if you're caught up in the jargon trap. Jargon evaluation number 1 is what we call, well, I would hope so. When you make a claim, don't think about it in terms of the words coming out of your mouth. think about it in terms of the words entering your prospect's ears. This will enable you to realise just how absurd most jargon sounds. Look at the messages in your marketing and then ask yourself if the prospect's immediate response would be, well, I hope so. Here's an example. I recently saw a TV ad for a landscaper. Throughout the ad, they continuously emphasised the fact that their work was of the highest quality, it was fairly priced, they guaranteed 100% satisfaction. Well, I hope so. Would you hire any landscaper who didn't provide all of these as standard part of the service? Of course not. This is all jargon, drearily commonplace, lacks power to evoke interest through overuse and repetition. Most ads today are nothing more than a jargon fest. Does this jargon tell you anything about these companies' inside reality? What else would you expect them to say? Everyone's always going to say wonderful things about their company if they can get away with it. The problem is that if your company has an exceptional inside reality and you're using the same jargon as everyone else, then the outside perception is you're all the same. This means prospects default to the company offering the lowest prices. Price now becomes the only determining factor. When you use this simple evaluation, just ask yourself openly and honestly why anyone would choose you over your competition. Then evaluate your answer against, well, I hope so evaluation. And finally, check out all your advertising and marketing material, including your website. Do they pass a, well, I hope so evaluation, or are they all chock full of jargon? If they fail, then you need to make some changes. Let me provide you with a second evaluation technique. It's called Who Else Can Say That? It's also a product of the era of the brand builders. Pay very close attention to this one. Stop thinking in terms of who else can say what you do. Instead, think in terms of who else can say what you say. Because the answer, unfortunately, is usually anybody and everyone can say what you say. I know a tradesman that ran by far the most impressive kitchen company in his community. Every member of his crew had at least 15 years experience. They were all certified subcontractors. They had won multiple industry awards. They were the only kitchen company that provided a full satisfaction guarantee and a 10-year material and labour warranty on everything they did. They left the job site every night cleaner when they first arrived. They also guaranteed they could install any kitchen in no more than 5 days. Half the time of their competitors. This, of course, meant far less disruption and inconvenience to the homeowner. In short, their inside reality was literally second to none. But they had a huge marketing problem. Their marketing model looked virtually identical to all their far less worthy competitors. Their marketing said things like certified subcontractor, guaranteed satisfaction, and then a long list of work they performed, such as new cabinets installed, complete kitchen remodelling, and so on. Oh, and get this, they accept Visa and MasterCard. Well, I'd hope so. And then ask this question, who else can say that? When the owner of the company was asked that very question, he got really defensive. Rightly so. He said, there's no other kitchen company that begin to match the work we do. Our subcontractors are far and away the best there is. No one, and I mean no one, can say what we say. Understandably, this guy was extremely passionate and protective when it came to his superior company. He worked so long and hard to develop over the years. So finally, to get the point across to him, I asked him to pull up his websites, pull up the websites of the 5 biggest competitors and see what all of them were saying on their homepage. Let's just say his drawer hung open for about 2 minutes before he finally pointed at the screen and said, "What the? Look at this other company's website. I know this guy. He's terrible. And his site says the exact same thing as mine. In fact, I think he copied my site word for word." He looked at the others and saw that all the other websites were virtually identical to his. The moral of this story is, it's not who can do what you do, It's who can say what you say. And if your marketing is full of jargon, then sadly the answer is all of your competitors can. Let me give you one final jargon detection evaluation. It's called the Scratch Out Writing Test. Take a look at your brochure, advertisement or website. Now, scratch out your name and write in your competitor's name. That's it. If the marketing is still valid, if the website still conveys the same basic message, then guess what? You just failed this test. This evaluation can be very revealing. Most businesses discover that they run fairly high on the jargon meter. You may find that your inside reality, excellent as it may be, is nowhere to be found in your marketing message. It's all but lost in a sea of jargon and completely invisible to your prospects. Am I making sense? It is evident that this might be a problem for you now and a tremendous competitive advantage if you could figure out how to fix this for your own business. Let me explain a very simple process we call the conversion equation, enabling you to eliminate jargon forever. I'm going to show you how to become a communications powerhouse. Make your outside perception an excellent reflection of your inside reality, and finally, begin to get the results of your marketing that you should be getting. The conversion equation has four main components. The first is the interrupt. This is simply the process of getting your ideal customer to pay attention to marketing. This is best achieved by appealing to them emotionally. Easier said than done unless you understand what you're about to learn here. The second component is to engage. Once you've interrupted, promise your prospect a solution and information to help them make the best decision possible. This is also best accomplished on an emotional level. The third component is to educate. Once you've interrupted and engaged the prospect, you have to give them information that allows them to logically understand how and why you solve their problems. This is accomplished by giving detailed, inside reality revealing information. This turns the corner from an emotional sell to a logical sell. And the fourth and final component of the conversion equation is the offer. Now the prospect has been interrupted based on problems that are important to them emotionally, engaged by the promise of a solution to that emotional problem, and they've examined the educational information that makes your solution to the emotional problem real and believable. So the last step is for you to give your prospect a low, or better yet, no risk way for them to take the next step in the sales process. This can be accomplished by offering a free marketing tool, such as a report, brochure, seminar, or something similar. This educates them even more. The prospect feels in complete control of the decision-making process. This conversion equation follows the formula for what marketing is supposed to do in the first place, namely interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. Remember earlier, we discussed that if you want to know why Jane Doe buys what Jane Doe buys, you've got to see the world through Jane Doe's eyes. Well, I would submit to you that if you want to know what Jane Doe sees, you better first understand how Jane Doe's brain works, how it processes information and makes decisions. To understand this process, there are three major concepts that I need to teach you. The three concepts that no one else in the world of marketing understands. The three concepts that will make all the difference in the world of marketing's effectiveness and your company's profitability. The three things you need to know about Jane Doe's brain are downtime, uptime, and the reticular activator. Let's begin by discussing downtime. This is a hypnotic state of running automatic patterns that allow your brain to perform habitual tasks without any conscious thought. You do this all the time. For instance, have you ever driven to work and when you got there, you don't remember making the trip? That's downtime. What downtime means in marketing terms, people see and hear ads with their eyes and ears, but they don't notice them on a conscious level. If you open a newspaper, you'd be looking at maybe 70% ads and only 30% news articles. But because the ads are only seen on a downtime level, 9.9 times out of 10, you won't consciously notice it. All you constantly see is the news, which is what you're there for in the first place. The second concept is uptime. This is the brain state of alertness or active engagement. It's like when you're driving in a freeway in a thunderstorm. You're sensitive and responsive to everything around you. You're in uptime. Here's what uptime means when it comes to marketing. When your prospect is in uptime mode, they consciously notice your ad or marketing piece and they're open to your suggestions and solutions. Something captures their attention and compels them to start paying attention. The key to marketing is to get your prospect out of downtime and into uptime. This shakes them out of their natural subconscious haze, where they never see your ad or marketing piece, and into uptime, where they are fully conscious and aware of what you're trying to communicate to them. Once you understand how to do this, you have the ability to make a fortune with your marketing. But to completely grasp this model, we've got to learn the third major concept of how Jane Doe's brain works. It's called the reticular activator. This is a part of your brain that's on the lookout 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when you're asleep. It constantly scans the environment looking for things that fall into any of these three categories. Things that are familiar, things that are unusual, things that are problematic. When the brain detects any of these three categories at a subconscious level, it sends a message over to the conscious side of the brain that says, hey, wake up, there's something here you need to pay attention to. Whatever those familiar, unusual or problematic things are, we call them activators. In short, your brain on a subconscious level is constantly on the lookout for activators. They're searching for things that are familiar, things that are unusual, or things that are problematic. In other words, things that demand a conscious response. Now, whenever it finds one, it pokes your conscious brain and it snaps it out of downtime sleep mode and into uptime alert mode. So, what does all this have to do with marketing then? Well, the short answer is everything. Understanding what wakes people up so they pay attention is what's going to get your marketing message past the interact stage and into the engage stage. And when we engage your prospects, you've just increased your chances of selling to the people you're trying to engage by 1,000%. This is going to solve the problem that every other marketer hasn't been able to figure out, which is not just getting them interrupted, but also getting them engaged. Not just finding any old activator, but finding the right activator. Any idiot can simply interrupt people. In fact, that's actually very easy to do. The so-called marketing gurus with a ponytail and Porsche do it all the time. These guys and girls prefer to use activators that are based on things that are familiar and unusual because they're the easiest to pull off. Have you ever noticed how many animals are used in advertising? That's because animals are familiar and likeable, and the idea is that those animals will interrupt you by poking your conscious brain when they're detected by your reticular activator. Chum has its Scotty dog, Arnott's have a parrot, and Bundy rum has its polar bear. All of these animals have good inter-end value based on their familiarity. That's also the major reason why big advertisers use celebrities, familiarity. And what about activators based on unusual things? Well, that's what creativity is all about. Creativity's main purpose in advertising is to dream up something so weird, so strange, so shocking, so unusual, that it'll snap you out of downtime and into uptime, otherwise known as interrupt. But here's the key. Here's what no one else seems to understand, and what just may be the most important thing you'll learn in this presentation. Once your brain is activated, once it has been broken out of downtime and into uptime alert mode, it wants to be engaged. So it immediately and subconsciously searches for additional information, clarifying information. The brain wants to know, hey, what's this all about? How does this affect me? Do I need to do anything about this? Literally, on a subconscious level, the brain goes on a fact-finding mission. The bottom line is the brain wants to know, how is this important and relevant to me? And should I allocate any conscious bandwidth to this? So, your brain searches for facts. If it finds them, it becomes engaged. If not, it will quickly revert back to downtime. We call these important, relevant issues hot buttons. If you're a cricket fan and your reticular activator detects Shane Warne on the television, it notices that on a conscious level because Shane Warne is familiar, is an activator. Then your brain immediately asks, hey, what's Shane Warne doing getting hair replacement? Is there anything here that's relevant or important to me? Or in other words, is this a hot button issue for me at this point of time in my life? What typically happens is your brain determines that hair replacement is not important or relevant to you. It doesn't do anything to solve any of your problems, and therefore it's not a hot button. So your brain immediately reverts back to downtime. Let me make this crystal clear. An activator is something that snaps a person from downtime to uptime and is based on something that's familiar, unusual, or problematic. But an activator can also be classified as a hot button if, and only if, it's based on something that's important and relevant to your prospects. So your best bet is to successfully interrupt and engage your target market is to identify problems, frustrations, uncertainties and annoyances your prospects have, and then address them in marketing. Their pain is in most cases their hot button. All we're doing here is tapping into the problem that your prospects already have. We're not trying to manufacture a crisis for them. We're merely poking their problems and pointing out those problems so that the reticular activator notices and brings us into the active radar screen. Now here's the key point to all of this, and one that none of the big ad agencies understand, but one that you need to know in order to make this work for you. The activators that are used to interrupt the prospect must be based on a relevant hot button. If not, the prospect will be momentarily interrupted, but will quickly revert from uptime back into downtime. This is known as false uptime. This happens in marketing and advertising all the time. Most marketing interrupts, but it doesn't engage, just like Shane Warne on hair replacement. He's famous, you like cricket, so it captures your attention. It interrupts you. But when you find out it's not based on anything that's important to you, there's nothing relevant, nothing that solves some problem that you have, you quickly revert to downtime. This is one of the things that almost no one understands, and one of the main reasons everything you've ever learned about marketing is wrong. Sure, you've heard that before. You've been conditioned to believe that as long as you've interrupted the prospect, that's it, that's good enough, your job is done. But you have to realise that if you only interrupt the prospect, that's only 1/4 of the conversion equation. You've got to include all 4 components. Interrupt, engage, educate, and offer to get the maximum results from your marketing and your advertising. Now, when it comes to actually writing the marketing, we typically like to portray the hot buttons in the form of headlines. The headline is the first opportunity you have to interrupt Jane Doe. You've got maybe 1 to 3 seconds to interrupt the prospect. So the headline has activators in it, and these are based on things that are important or relevant to Jane Doe. Remember hot buttons. Words and phrases that describe problems or frustrations that the prospect is feeling so that the reticular activator latches onto them and snaps them into uptime. In print advertising, magazines, newspapers, yellow pages, so forth, the headline is obvious. In radio, the headline is the first sentence they heard. On Google AdWords, it's the first bit of text they read. On television, it's the first thing they see or hear. Let me give you one quick example of a child psychologist who works with kids with behavioural problems. Most of these types of professionals say things like, we're offering parenting advice and resources, we can help get your child under control, learn the secrets of well-behaved children. As a parent with an out-of-control child, why would I want to know the secrets of well-behaved children? See what I mean when I say no one's getting it? That everything you know about marketing is wrong. If you have a child that embarrasses you in public, that is basically uncontrollable and unmanageable, then you are desperate for a solution for that behaviour. So, what if a child psychologist used this headline? Are you sick and tired of the yelling, screaming and belligerent attitude of your child? Doesn't that immediately address the conversation going on in the head of the parents? Won't that headline immediately interrupt then and knock them out of downtime and into uptime? Of course it will. Because it hits on the person's hot buttons of uncontrollable children. Okay, to wrap up this discussion about interrupt engage, let me address the topic of engage specifically just for a moment. To successfully engage, all you have to do is use a headline or a sub-headline that promises the reader that if they keep reading or listening to the ad, that they will get information that will facilitate them making the best decision possible. Not sales information, not here's how great we are information, but rather bona fide decision-making information. Sometimes the headline itself will engage, but more frequently it's a sub-headline that makes a promise to educate and therefore engages. The child psychologist that uses a headline, are you sick and tired of the yelling, screaming and belligerent attitude of your child? His sub-headline says this: now you can discover the secrets to controlling your child and instantly restore peace and quiet in your home. Show me just one parent experienced this sort of behaviour from their own children that would immediately respond to this ad. The sub-headline engages the reader to continue reading to find out the decision facilitating information. And that brings us to the third and fourth components of the conversion equation: educate and offer. I mentioned earlier in this presentation that every marketing piece should contain a low-risk offer to encourage the prospect to take up the next step. And that offer should generally be to receive additional information, or in other words, to further educate the prospect and to build your case. Now, here's a real key to success in marketing. The right offer allows you to capture a large percentage of all future buyers in addition to those looking to buy right now. There's an educational process that the prospect goes through, from the moment they begin thinking about buying your product or service to the point where they actually complete the purchase. Most marketing only caters to the now buyers who will be making a purchase decision in the very near future and does nothing or very little to educate those who are thinking about it right now, but who might buy later. Here's a problem with that. At any given moment, the number of prospects that are ready to buy right now represent no more than 1 to 5% of all those who are ultimately going to buy what you sell. You've got 95 to 99% of your prospects who are in the thinking about it and gathering information mode. But when they're attempting to gather information, you don't give it to them. This is where the fourth component of the conversion equation becomes absolutely huge: offer. Your offer gives you the opportunity to provide additional educational information to the gathering information mode prospects, and in the process capture valuable information about who these people are so that you can proactively market to them on an ongoing basis. This allows you to take total control of your marketing, cost-effective communication with them through the decision-making process. The child psychologist offers information on gaining and maintaining control of your child in 60 seconds. But here's a really neat part of having this type of offer. When the parents do go online to request the free information, the child psychologist can now capture the prospect's contact information and proactively market to them from now until forever. Then the child psychologist can set up what we call the drip campaign to consistently and repetitiously follow up with these interesting parents and keep providing them with additional decision-making information until they become finally ready to buy. Depending on what you sell and the specific situation, there are actually 8 different types of informational offers that we create and offer your prospects. And if you want to dominate your marketplace, you have got to get the right offers as well. Hopefully this has all come together for you now. Interrupt, engage, educate and offer make up the conversion equation. And the equation is literally the backbone of all the incredibly successful marketing campaigns we've ever put together. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. You can probably tell from the depth of information in this presentation that we have a bona fide step-by-step system that helps business owners, just like you, become financially free using superior marketing that makes your phone ring. Our passion is for you, the small business owner. Through applying this education in your business right now, you will start to see increases in your marketing results and profitability. Our goal is to make sure everyone who takes this training on knows that they can really achieve outstanding results with their marketing and an unfair market share. We all start out in business with a financial freedom goal, a way to live life, give back. Sadly, the reality of scraping and battling on a daily basis equates to no more than working a poorly paid job.
Well, that about wraps that up. Thanks, Bruce. Look, if you take nothing away from today's presentation, I really want you to know and understand that when and if you ever need it, the tools, resources and support to accomplish any of your business goals in record time are here. However, I bet there's a couple of you right out there right now who need some immediate increases in your cash flow. And if that is the case, I suspect we can help. Today's offer, and it's just for everybody on today's presentation, we are offering a sales and marketing audit. It's a comprehensive look. It's a real process. It's a comprehensive look at the business, at your business from a bird's eye perspective, dissects your business into parts and lets both of us see where to apply immediate focus and attention, because I bet you there's at least 10 grand sitting on the table, untapped cash flow right now today in your business. The offer today is that all of this happens on a one-on-one screen share meeting. Usually takes about an hour, hour and a half, and it's at absolutely no charge to you whatsoever. As a thank you for being here. So, to schedule your free consultation session, or if you have any questions you'd like to put to us after the presentation, I'm the go-to girl, Jen at smartbizproject.com. Flick me an email. Happy to help. So, thanks everybody for attending. I hope you found something in here valuable. Remember, the information without application is totally worthless, so please set aside some time to implement some or all of these changes and really watch your marketing results go through the roof. I want you all to have a really great day. Bye.